we are also hearing right now that China is vindictive. Our major trading partner is incredibly vindictive. We've had this Quad meeting last week. And, you know, this is an insight from the Quad meeting that we're hearing the US Secretary of State, we're hearing our own Foreign Minister, which is the same position here in Australia, starting to say that China are slowly but surely doing us over. We're being distracted while we're being done over, Jake. We have to start getting on the business of Australia, surely.
Well, that's right, Gary. And look, you're right. The government is totally distracted with this gender quota stuff. And look, if I could just read what the Prime Minister has said. He has said in 2018 of quotas that they were never something I've supported. I don't think quotas are a way of removing obstacles. So this is Scott Morrison's words, not our words. And you're so right about China. China is it's the only game in town. They are totally, they're on our doorstep. They are going to all the Pacific nations and they are building all the infrastructure, the bridges and everything. And you know what they will want in return, Gary? They'll be knocking on the door and they'll be saying, well, we want to now build a naval base, and which will be right on our doorstep. And you know, it's a real worry. And again, the biggest debate at the moment is, should we have 50% of females in Parliament? And look, no women that I talk to want to be involved in anything like this. The last thing that they want is to be in a role or a position just purely because they are a female. They want to be held in high regard because of their achievements. And that's it. And you're so right. Look, the Quad's important. President Xi is very aggressive. He's leading a very aggressive China. And they've got Confucius centres everywhere, institutes everywhere. And look, it is a real concern. You're quite right. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I mean, Bronwyn, to Daisy's point and to Jake's point, I mean, 100% of women, thereabouts, would be concerned about another country aggressively coming in to try and change our society, and they've done it economically. Bob Katter said there's a whole bunch of Northern Australia that is prone, and I accept Bob's general analysis on this. State governments complicit in giving away bunches of our territory in contracts that seem, feasible at first glance. But if you look at the track record, ownership of farms, ownership of water, ownership of houses by house, one by one in some suburbs of Sydney, Brisbane, Melbourne, Adelaide, you've got this aggression from China that is really, to my mind, part of an ongoing march. Now, Bronwyn, the point I want to put, if Peter Dutton is going to become the Defence Minister, and I think he would be the kind of guy that could do this and get defence into the shape of actually building up its national sovereignty role, gives the Defence Forces, we already have an awe for them, but it actually contemporises the role. Defence has got to get some smarts around it about this sneaking up of China. They're going to clobber us.
Gary, I was the one who was criticising the Communist Party of China and what its aspirations were for the rest of the world, when everybody was saying, aren't they doing marvellously? They're building all these buildings all over the place, nobody living in them. The countries, like all socialist countries, its economy is failing, can't feed its people. And yet, here is this, just like Stalin, when he was selling cheap wheat around the world, he was starving to death the Ukrainians who were growing it. And if there's one person that Xi likes to follow, it's Stalin. Now, the fact of the matter is, to stay in power, he has to become more aggressive. And he has become more aggressive. And he is indeed now using phase 2 of the COVID, of the virus that came from Wuhan. Phase 2 is, well, now we've given you the disease, now we've got a vaccine. And we'll give you a vaccine if you give us X, Y, and Z. That means control over land mass, it means control of various things. They are about turning our part of the world, us included, into vassal states where they are in complete control. Now, look what happens when they're in complete control. Look at Tibet. Look at what's happening to the Uyghurs. This is a regime that harvests body parts and sells them. This is the regime under a one-child policy that left baby girls dying in the gutter. This is a regime which is determined to bring down the United States as the dominant power in the world. They want to break its currency. That is the aim of President Xi. Now, for all of the guff that is being talked about in this country about things that have to be have attention to, because there is a moral base to this country that has said that we will fight for causes that are right. That's why we lost 100,000 men fighting in World War I and II, fighting for the freedom that you and I, all of us here, are the inheritors of, because they had a moral obligation to save our country and to see justice in the world. Well, we've got to be the same. We just cannot allow a government to fall into disarray and to be pulled by handling things badly, to not concentrate on the things that need to be. Now, Peter Dutton, and I agree, he's been terrific in his current portfolio. Maybe they should be amalgamated into one. He can have both, defence and the current one. But the first thing that has to be done is get out of that damn submarine contract and start getting some real assets that can be used in the immediate future, not off in the never, never. We should, as I've said again and again, talking to the United States, which is in our corner with its high officials saying to China that it'll side with us. We're in the Quad, which is excellent, but we should be talking to the United States about getting some of their submarines, nuclear-powered submarines that they can service, but we can have as part of our defence force. We have to be on a foot that is ready to fight if we need to. So there's no time to be wasted. Yes, it's important that we have a moral stance, but we cannot afford to be consumed by the issue when there is so much at stake with regard to the threat from China.